All right, got the title. As you can see, the title is as crusty as the car was when I first started on it. Got insurance on it. We're gonna go down to the DMV, get the title and everything paid for so it can be swapped in my name, and then from there temp tag so I can drive this thing to the inspection place so that I can get it inspected to get my registration and file for my plates. So been a long time coming. Just got the insurance yesterday on it. Gonna take the time now that I'm a little slow and get this thing on the road. All right guys, that was a rat race. Went to the DMV and y'all saw the condition of the title. Parts of the VIN wasn't legible, so I went ahead with my ink pen and kind of filled it in, and just to make things legible, right? But by me doing that, they said I altered the title. So I had two options at that point. They said I can find the guy who sold it to me, he could pay a small fee and we can transfer it that way, but I can't find the guy. I don't know where he's at. So that left me with option two. Option two is to go a bonded title route. So I went to a different part of the DMV, took care of that paperwork, but being that I had the title, it made the process easy. I filled out the paperwork, paid a small fee. Then they told me I needed bonded insurance for the title, and when I had that paperwork, all I had to do was take it back to the DMV, and then I would be able to register it and get a title for it, but it'd be a bonded title. And then the bonded title would clear after so many years and become a clear title. That's just the way it works in Texas, right? So I did all that paperwork. I called up my insurance company. I got the bonded insurance. So I went over there, brought them the paperwork, and then they told me at that point that it would take a week to 2 weeks for that stuff to come in. So I'm at a standstill on the SRT4, but the good news is I will get a title for it, right? So I learned a valuable lesson. Don't try to fill in anything other than what's supposed to be filled out on the title, because probably had I not done that, I probably would have got away with it and had the title transferred. But SRT4 is just gonna have to chill out until I get the title. I wanted to do some pulls on this channel for this episode. I wanted to do some pulls and throw that in for a little extra added content, but it's not gonna work out. But wheels are off of it because I ordered this toe alignment kit. It's from TMR, and TMR makes off-road stuff, and they have a YouTube channel, but I found them through Google, and they sell this kit right here. It's for doing toe alignments. But the problem is with lowered vehicles, because they're off-road, right, their suspension sags low and they can use it bolted up to the hub, right? Well, you bolt it up to the hub, you can't make measurements through the engine bay. So I'm gonna have to make some drop brackets that drop it low enough to where I can utilize this, and that will get my toe in the ballpark so that I can drive it and not have to worry about the tires wearing out. It's a good thing to have for my projects, and it's also a good thing to have for when I do repairs on customer vehicles. So just a little bit of alterations and I'll get that to work, because we're gonna have to do it on this car and we're gonna have to do it on that car. Now Jay, he has a Hunter alignment rack back there, but he stays busy, so I have to wait for my turn. Sometimes that's a little while, but having a tool like that allow me to get it close enough to where I could drive it and not have to worry about things, right? So this episode on the Prelude, we have a slew of parts. I'm gonna lay them all out here in a second. We'll go through it and then we're gonna go ham on this thing. All right guys, Honda Prelude, it's going down. What we got for this thing is we have coilovers, another steering wheel that's actually a Momo, a rack and pinion bushing, new injectors, horns, and lip kit. Now this lip kit I got off of eBay, and I gotta tell you, man, this is the most complete lip kit I've seen on eBay yet. So it's got brackets and fasteners and everything, double-sided tape. That's the lip right there. We got headlights, oil pan, wheels. And to make these bad boys fit properly, we're gonna roll some fenders. So I'm gonna start with the aesthetics, right? We're gonna go ahead and do the coilovers, the wheels, roll the fenders, and get this thing right. So let's start on that. All right, coilovers are pretty straightforward. You have 17 millimeter right here, 17 millimeter on the opposite side. You have a 14 millimeter right there, and that'll allow you to drop this bottom wishbone piece out of the way so that the strut itself can clear. Then you have 3 fasteners up on top. Let's go ahead and remove it. factory top hats is just 3 studs, right? On these, they have the 3 studs plus 2. This car doesn't utilize those, so we're just gonna go ahead and knock them out.
Out there on the battlefield, we'll face the darkest hell. We'll fight in the deadliest fields, where all our deepest fears dwell. I don't know if we're coming back, but we'll give the fight of our lives. Unite all together.
Alright, so similar situation. In the back we have 17 right here, 17 on the opposite side, and then through the top right there it is 2 14 millimeters, and that will come out, and then these bad boys will go in.
Through thick and thin, from dusk until dawn, you'll not believe what we have achieved in that pursuit of the glory. Baptized through fire, is freedom we desire, dying to live is a part of our story. Fighting together as one. A flag of scarlet that's on these fields we have suffered, but have been led for the righteous cause. The enemy shall be overcome, conquered by nation of laws. We are the great force when unleashed, train the mighty as the beast. We'll suffer together with pride, we won't leave no one behind. Walking side by side, when the burn up tonight, through thick and thin, from dusk until dawn, you'll not believe what we have achieved in that pursuit of the glory. Baptized through fire, it's freedom we desire, dying to live is a part of our story. Forced by the power is not me. Sharpened by the trials that we face. Strengthened by the battles we've seen. Protected by the roots of our faith.
Alright, we ran into a frickin' problem. It seems just to be my week. I'm between the SRT and this car. I'll tell you what, this is in its lowest setting and it still has a big gap that y'all saw when I lowered it, and that is because this dampener is bottomed out in this bottom sleeve right here. So it's all the way bottomed out. I could feel it on the bottom right here, and I twisted it and verified that it is turning, and it is bottomed out. So I sent a message to the seller with pictures to see what they want to do. As far as this goes, I do have some max speeding rod Honda Civic coilovers in storage. So what I plan to do is go pick those up, and I will compare, and if the dampener is the same size, right, but shorter, I can take this apart and change that out and make it work. I'm just trying to get a set of freaking coilovers that work. So yeah, man, I mean, I could cheat it, right? I could just loosen it and drop the spring, but then you're gonna have all that slop up on top, and that defeats the whole purpose of a coilover. So I'm gonna go ahead and see how this works out with the other set, and if it fits, we'll make it work. We'll just, you know, Frankenstein some stuff up, because this is a BFO brand, but it looks exactly the same as a max speeding rod. And some of these models on these coilovers in the past, that like on BMWs and other vehicles, that it's a similar problem with some of the kits that these cheaper companies sell. So hopefully, you know, we'll work this out. But I'm done for the day. It's getting kind of late. I got to get back home. I'll see you guys in the morning with the other coilovers, and we'll try to make this work. All right, guys, I gotta tell you, it took a lot of thinking and a couple of trial and errors, but I came to this solution right here, and I think it's gonna work out great. Look at the original dampener. As you can see, it's actually longer than the new setup. So we went with the Civic dampener, but there is a difference between the two dampeners, because if you notice this rod right here, it's a lot thicker than the rod right there for the Civic. So this dampener isn't as good as this one. This is a lot stronger dampener. It has bigger pistons and valving and everything in it. So to offset that, I went ahead and got rid of the 8 kg springs, and I collect parts, like I said, in my storage unit. I like to collect a lot of stuff, and I was digging through that, and I knew I had extra springs, and I found them, and these are 10 kg. So we went up from 8 kg to 10 kg. That will help compensate with the smaller damper, right? That's my train of thought on it. So there is a difference in the mounting between the two assemblies, right? So the Civic has a bushing mount on the top hat, and this has a pillow ball bearing. So I had to get a little creative. That's where I had to think about it, right? So the diameter of this with all these fittings are a lot wider than what originally is for the Civic. So I went to Ace Hardware and I bought me some brass collars. And with the brass collars, I ground them down so that they can fit in between this whole assembly right here for the Prelude. And to show you guys how it all works, take this off. Now this is the upper pillow ball mount for the top hat. Take that off. You see, basically, this is, you know, made to fit over that. And it obviously don't work with the 12 millimeters, so that's the gap I had to fill. So I used a ground down collar, and that allowed me to fill in the gap. And then that allows me to be able to use this top upper assembly with the Honda Civic dampener. So cool deal. I did have to do one other alteration, was for this top retaining spring piece. For that, if you see the gap right there, now with the set washer in place, I had to space it with some 12 millimeter washers, and that takes up the gap on the bottom there. So like that, with the collar, and then from there, fitting, then there still is a gap right there, right? So I fill it with this piece, and then the other fitting, and then from there, tighten it all down, and now you have a working coilover. Cool. Now that we figured out how to make this all work, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of the other side. I'll mount these in, we'll get the wheels on and see if we can get the ride height right. And then from there, we're gonna roll the fenders and finish the wheel fitment off. All right, y'all, we were able to come up with a solution to fix that problem, and I can't believe that companies will sell that stuff. They'll just throw parts together, not even test fit anything, and put it out there on the market, and that is a no-go. I've ran across it before on a BMW, so it happens. That's the risk you run when you buy cheap shit. So lesson to me is I need to get some better suspension, right? Stop going cheap. But you know how it is, man. You just want to get things done, and sometimes, you know, you see the cheaper price of the coilovers and you're like, well, that'll work for now. I should have just right off the bat got some quality name brand like Megan. Megan's a good budget coilover that works really well. I should have went with that, but that's what I get, right? Let it be a lesson to y'all. Learn through me, right? But we were able to overcome. Now I do need to get more of a drop out of the front, and I think by me lessening the spring preload, I'll be able to do that. I want about a quarter of an inch more drop. I still need to roll the fenders. The rear, I still need to swap out the spring with the 8 kg because it has a 7 kg in the rear. So I have 10 up front, 7 in the back. And then once I get the front ride height to settle in the sweet spot where I want it, I'll adjust the rears, and also we'll be rolling the fenders so we don't have any interference like this. Right now, basically it's sitting right there on the tire. So with that being said, next episode, we're just gonna pick up where I left off and see how much we can get done. Hopefully I can get it all done in one episode. And then from there, we'll move on to another vehicle for the time being. So if you're here for the first time and like my content, go ahead and subscribe, guys. But on that note, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Y'all peace out, bro.